Hello and welcome back to For St. Pete's Sake, the podcast where we deep dive into everything political here in Pinellas County, the state of Florida, and beyond. I am your host, Christian Hotchkiss. I am the president of the Stonewall Democrats of Pinellas County. And as always, I am joined by my fantastic co-host, Laura. Laura, how are you today?
Hi, Christian. If we're honest, I'm crashing out today. It's been a crash out day, but you know what? That's why we have the pod so that we can talk to each other about these things and we can all go through it together.
Exactly. We're all a community. We're a family here. This is
Exactly.
this podcast is a family. We want all the viewers to feel like a family member. So you've brought up today we didn't have a guest lined up, so why not just have a genuine conversation about what's been going on?
Exactly. And
Because
I
there's
know
been a
our
lot.
Yeah, there has been a lot, and I know our viewers will be happy to see you back from last week. Since it was just me solo. Our YouTube viewers will remember I did a live, which was just me yapping for about 25 minutes. And then unfortunately I couldn't quite figure out how to get that downloaded and turned into an audio podcast. So for the listeners, that's why we didn't have a pod last week. But now we're all caught up.
Now we're all caught up. I am back. I am doing much better health wise. So thank you for covering last week.
Oh yeah.
It was a little unfortunate, but I'm glad that you got through it, and it sounds like you at least got a good conversation out of it, even if it was only on YouTube.
You know, I did try to talk about tariffs, which was scary because me and math, it's just not a thing. But, we
I know
stumbled
they're
through.
bad. I know they're bad. I know it's going to cause us more pain, but
Exactly.
I
Right.
know they're very bad.
They are not great. So, and actually, I think that's a really great way for us to hop into some of the stories of the, past week or two. I mean, I don't even think it's really week or two because everything's been so crazy in the last like 72 hours. So, but yeah, let's
Yeah.
hop into the hot topics, shall we
Well,
say?
yeah, let's dive right in. So, I think we're going to start here domestically. So, of course, the administration is facing a lot of legal challenges. A federal judge found that Trump officials are in contempt for defying a court order halting the deportation of Venezuelan migrants under the Alien Enemies Act. The judge condemned their willful disobedience, emphasizing the importance of upholding the Constitution. And then they go on to say cultural institutions are feeling the pressure as well. The administration froze $2.3 billion in federal grants to Harvard University over campus activism and imposed cuts on their education and housing grants, prompting legal challenges. And
Yeah,
you just mentioned something else.
as I was driving home, I got a push notification from the Washington Post saying that Trump is directing the IRS to revoke Harvard's tax exempt status, which I mean would be financially devastating. I mean, they have a huge endowment, so I don't know how much but that can't be sustainable. And also, that's an incredible overreach of power. We'll just
Yeah, we heard
keep
all about
noting
this.
that.
Them going against the weaponization of the IRS and the Justice Department, but
Exactly.
that's literally what they're doing. They are
100%.
weaponizing those systems against us. Trump just said was caught on camera saying that he would be fine with deporting homegrowns.
Yeah.
So legal American citizens, he is now saying he would deport and send to El Salvador to
Yeah.
this awful prison camp where
Petco. Yeah. I mean, I yesterday saw images that first images that have come out of Setco since they've sent, American deportees down there. And I mean, those pictures will be in history books. That's exactly what the trains to concentration camps looks like. That is what the concentration camps looks like before extermination started. And I'm not gonna, there's very conspiratorial um, things about Setco because no one comes out. Literally, no one has ever been released from there. So it's like, what? Why? What's happening in there? Like, how? I mean, it's just, it's. It's yeah. I mean, this is very, and this is part of what I've been crashing out about. One of the things that in this process is that even you said the federal court, the federal judge is holding contempt hearings against the Trump administration, and even on the El Salvadoran man that was Kilmar Abrego Garcia, or yeah, Garcia, that was sent there. And the Maryland senator just went there. But anyway, the Supreme Court has said you got to bring him back. You have to bring him back. They didn't set a hard timeline, but 9-0, 9-0, the Supreme Court said he's got to come back. So, in the Trump administration and Bukele, he in the office, Bukele in the United States in the Oval Office just basically held up two middle fingers and was like, "Nah, not doing it."
The way
Which,
they basically said, even after the Supreme Court made their ruling, Pam Bondi basically said, "Yeah, we don't care. There's nothing we can do." And now the president of El Salvador said that he will not release anybody.
right.
So, what happens next is my question. Are we going to see? We are on the verge of a true constitutional crisis,
Oh, I believe
and
we're already there. I mean, personally.
it, in the sense of what happens next, I'm nervous to see if this judge holds the Trump administration in contempt, what happens then? Because the Supreme Court ruled before that the president can do whatever he wants
Yep.
while acting in his official
Official
capacity as president.
capacity. Yeah. Yeah. It's a mess. And you know, being, I as a background, I'm a paralegal, so I'm working the law and I'm passionate about it. And, I'm also a nerd about it because that's how I am. But John Roberts, who is the chief of the Supreme Court, he's always so cared about what his legacy, the way he writes his opinions, he just like has always cared about what is his legacy? What is history going to say about the Roberts Court? And my, oh my, oh my, John Roberts, what are the history books going to say about your court? You gave the man you gave the man presidential immunity you gave the president the power to do whatever he wants, and look where we're at. And you're gonna try to rail him back now? Are you even gonna, I mean, you've made once. It's just mind blowing. And as you know, Christian and I were talking before we got on the airs. I work in a law firm. Like I felt today going into work, like why am I going to do law stuff? Law stuff doesn't matter anymore. It's
Well,
been a day.
it's been a day. It still does matter. It's the laws are still the laws, and hopefully our justice system does prevail. I know it's scary. We're all kind of nervous about everything, but I really hope that the
Yeah.
side rails, guardrails that were put in place originally, hold up.
Yeah.
I really hope they hold up. So we'll just have to see. And
Well, and I definitely, I definitely see elected Democrats are finally, stepping up. And, where the senator, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was living in Maryland. I think he was in Baltimore. So like in the DMV, basically, not far outside Washington. But anyway, so he was from Maryland. So the senator from Maryland went down to El Salvador today and met with and the at the U.S. Embassy and met with the vice president of Venezuela, who said no, we're not letting him out. And then the
El
senator
Salvador.
got, yeah, yeah, and then he got the guy, and then they got Bukele on the phone, and Bukele was like, nope. No, oh yeah, senator. Did I say governor? I kept
No,
saying.
you said the senator of Venezuela.
Oh,
It was El
Venezuela.
Salvador.
Yeah, senator of Maryland. That's okay. Yeah, the senator from Maryland. Yeah, they ended up getting President Bukele, the president of El Salvador, on the phone, and they were just like, "No, we're not doing it." So, I mean, it's just I don't. I mean, it's horrifying. I don't know what it and this is so. And with the Kilmar Abrego situation, it's like that's. I know why they did it with him specifically because he is El Salvadoran. So technically, like there's the Venezuelan deportees that they've sent to El Salvador, like that's obviously unconstitutional. You know, that's it's that like that one's cut and paste like that, no argument over that. Like that one's gonna breeze through court. But the with Mr. Abrego Garcia's case is more difficult because he is of El Salvadoran descent. He's from El Salvador, but he was specifically granted a non deportation order because he fled El Salvador to escape the gangs and was likely to be killed if returned. So I mean, but like there, that's the argument, and I know they argue that he broke blah 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 blah. That none of it's true. They've never produced any proof that he's in a gang or that he's done anything here in America to warrant being, deported or having his order lifted. So it's just, but I just know that that's why they chose this one and for El Salvador because he's El Salvadoran. So like it's a sliver of logic.
My thing is it doesn't matter what anybody has to say about it, rhyme or reason, because judge, a judge ordered, a court judge in this United States judge said that man cannot be deported back.
Exactly.
And now, because of a clerical error, this administration defied that, went against that.
Right.
How are they going to be held responsible? There's no like he did whatever law he broke, or whatever he did in his past, where he's from. It doesn't matter. A judge said he is ordered to stay here. No
Mm.
one can take him out. End of story.
Yeah.
That's it. That's point. If that Nothing
I
else
know.
matters beyond that.
Yeah. And that, yeah, and that's just, and I know it's like tired, it's cliche, everybody's talking about it, but it's just like it's so mind-boggling because they're like this version of the conservative party of the Republican Party is supposed to be, all about the rule of law and all of that stuff. And it's like but like I mean, we're just really getting, they're saying the quiet part out loud at this point. Like they're really getting the rule of law, yes, for poor and not white, and or for the rule of law, but only for if you're white and rich enough and have enough access to power. Like anybody else, no, the rule of law still applies to you, or it doesn't in the other way where we can do anything we want to you. Like it's just and then
Yeah.
like
I
yeah.
mean, we've definitely seen some of the leaders step up. I was glad to see the senator from Maryland go down and actually do something. Again, we say all the time, we want our leaders to do is do something,
Gotta
right? And
try.
we're seeing people do that. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez and Bernie Sanders have been doing their fighting oligarchy tour all across the United States, and I think, one of their latest rallies broke the record for any rally ever held as most
Wow.
attended. So
Was that Coachella, the Coachella one? Because he,
I'm not sure.
okay, because I know one of the artists at Coachella, I think it was Saturday night, brought Bernie out on stage before her set. It was Claro, brought Bernie out before her set, and he talked to the crowd. So I mean, that might be the one that counted, but I know they've had another one. I think Sunday in LA too. So
Mhm.
it could have been that one too. But yeah, I mean. Ooh, we fumbled the bag, bro.
Yeah. So
But
I
it's okay.
mean, we're
We're not gonna dwell on it. We're gonna say we're gonna love that Bernie, with all that happened with Bernie in the DNC in the primaries, he could have easily said, I'm not working with you people anymore. Like, I don't care that we're similarly aligned. I'm not gonna do anything to help you. I'm just gonna let you hang out here and drive. Like like
yeah,
Kristen Cinema has, or
yeah,
like the guy that was from West Virginia that I can't lives on the houseboat that I can't remember
Manchin.
his name right now. But like yeah, he could be obstinate, but he's still trying because he cares. And the other thing that he's doing and has been doing is realizing how old he is and grooming the next generation of leaders. Like he and AOC are like the A team, and they and tell and people like talk and like Tim Walz has been going out around too. He's still acting. He's still the
I'm
governor of
loving seeing
Minnesota.
his rallies.
Oh my gosh, I know.
I love them.
He's so like I again, talk about a bag fumble. They should have let that we needed more Tim on the campaign trail. I think he's so excellent.
He is incredible. I can't wait to see how far he goes. The Obamas have even come back out.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of leadership come out. I'm just nervous to see who ends up actually leading the party and if they will take it in the correct direction.
Yeah.
Um, because
Right.
what we're seeing right now is, we're seeing the old guard still in power.
Exactly.
I
And a
actually
lot of
just
them
saw something
refusing to give it up.
today. Yeah, I saw something today. David Hogg is has created a fund where they're going to spend $20 million, 20 million or 20 billion, I'm not sure, 20 million, I believe, but they're going to spend it on elections against primaries, against
Good.
Democrats.
Good.
So they're going to spend $20 million on primaries like that because they want to get the old guard out and they want to get new, younger people in.
I mean, and that's what you need to do is invest in people because as we talked about with Sabrina, it is not cheap to do this. It's not
No,
cheap to run and it's not easy. And it's scary. There's just so many barriers for people to do it. And then the money is the hardest one to get over. So, like, I love that we're investing in getting people who are a new generation, who have new thoughts, who have new ideas. It's like, it's not, and it's like, for me, it's not saying like you just need to get out because you're old. Because look at Bernie and Elizabeth Warren. They're old, but guess what? They're bringing new ideas. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? Like, they're
They're
not
not stuck in the
stagnant.
past.
Exactly. Exactly. And like, you know, does Bernie need to like not? I think he did say he was going to run again, which is like, okay, wait a minute. That gets me a
I
little.
don't know if he said he was going to run or if he just hasn't said he won't run.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which one it is, but I know that he didn't say he won't run. I
Yeah.
know that much.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I mean, but I don't know. You get that close to the ring that many times. You can't blame a guy for wanting to go for it again. But I just, you know, and so it's not to say that just because you're old, we don't want you. It's like if you're old and stagnant, even if you're like a Gen Xer and you're stagnant in your beliefs, like, no, you got like, if you're not pursuing the best thing for the most people that you represent, and if you're not being accountable to the people you represent, bye, you gotta go. And I've felt very strongly about that for a while. And like, I know there's seniority, especially in the House, where terms are only 2 years versus six for senators. There's so much more turmoil and like institutional knowledge, blah, 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 blah. Fine. But having new people elected doesn't mean they're gonna that doesn't mean they're gonna lose the next time. You know what I mean? They could become the new
there's
institutional knowledge.
there's an argument to be made that the old guard can take their positions however long they may last and say a Bernie. There's an argument to be made that he shouldn't run again.
Oh yeah.
We thought that Dianne Feinstein, I don't think that
Oh,
she should have ran
exactly.
again.
Not at all.
Her health problem, she should not have been a senator as long as she was. Bernie, although he is in great health, there is an argument people can make about at a certain age we need to get new
Right.
people in there. So that's fine. If we're going to have that conversation, then let's have Bernie pick someone, find the best people in his state and groom them to take his place. And Bernie
Exactly.
can still be there, but you have the new person
Exactly.
actually in office. You know what I mean? So Bernie's still around, but only as a
Yeah.
consultant when we have the new person
Yeah.
in office.
like mentoring programs is definitely
Yeah,
something that the party should have, and you shouldn't be, and that's the thing is like you shouldn't be afraid of the party of the people coming up behind you. You should want to lift them up, not, step on them to
exactly.
get yourself up higher. You know what I mean? So, but I love um how AOC has grown too as
Mhm.
a communicator and as a representative. She's just been lightning from the beginning, and she's just so articulate and thoughtful and just, bee's knees to me. So
Yeah. No, she's incredible. I love her and how much she's grown from the first time we've seen her. And
absolutely.
actually, if you didn't see this, her original campaign manager when she ran in 2018,
Hmm.
her campaign manager for that campaign just went over to Nancy Pelosi's district and announced that he's going to run against Nancy Pelosi for her seat.
Oh my gosh, I'm
I
obsessed.
I saw the article and I know his name, but I'm not gonna try to say it because I don't want to.
Be
Anyway,
wrong, yeah.
yeah, very hard to pronounce, but it is good to see because he's a young guy. He's
Yeah,
progressive. He's he's doing exactly what a lot of young
right.
people say needs to happen.
Exactly. And that's interesting because there's definitely no love lost between those between Nancy Pelosi and AOC. So
Yeah,
that just makes the conferences more spicy, I'm sure, but it's okay.
but
Oh my
again,
goodness.
there's an argument to be made that it is time for those individuals, even though they're on the Democratic side. I am
Yeah,
fine with them stepping away. It's
exactly.
I'm fine with that.
I mean,
But that's the difference between our party and other people, the megas, is
exactly.
because we can recognize that it's probably time for our leaders to step aside and new leadership to come up.
Precisely. Yeah. And come up in natural and encouraging ways and not like the lethal takeover of the parties that the way the Tea Party started it and MAGA finished it, you know what I mean, like
Hmm.
that it's the devolution of the Republican Party that from uh you know George H.W. Bush to now is wild, let alone to think, like, and even George W. Bush, I thought would be the worst president that I would ever have to live through. And ooh, girl, set the bar. I thought I set the bar pretty low, but like we,
I really thought I had the bar pretty low when I thought Mitt Romney was bad, and it turns out that Mitt Romney was one of the sane ones.
oh my gosh,
Um,
yeah.
John McCain and Mitt Romney were the two sane ones,
Yeah,
and
and what was the John Boehner? Remember super tan
yes,
guy? Yeah, from
yes.
he was the he and he was not oh my gosh, I used to just think that he was as worse as it could be. And then oh my gosh. And then oh my gosh, what was um who was the one after him that was Mitt's
Ryan,
yeah, Paul Ryan. Oh
Paul
gosh.
Ryan.
Oh gosh, that's so exciting that I forgot his name. Like
I
like he
really,
didn't
I
exist.
really want to know where the old leaders like John Boehner and Paul Ryan, where are they? Are they stepping up? Because I haven't seen them anywhere. Do
John
we know where they
Boehner
are?
lives in I last I heard, I mean John Boehner's getting paid in weed money in Ohio. He's a
Mhm.
highly invested in the marijuana business in Ohio. So he's just like
Yeah.
stoned and probably doesn't care. Last I heard, that was the story I'd read
Allegedly,
about him. No, that's
allegedly.
literally that's yeah, he was highly invested in the weed industry in Ohio right when they had made it medically legal. So I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
but no, Paul Ryan's working. I'm sure Paul Ryan's probably at the Heritage Foundation, writing these insane, and again, I used to think Paul Ryan was terrifying when he talked about how he used to dream in college of repealing Medicaid and Medicare. Like, yeah, I thought that was the most insane thing I'd ever hear of someone in government say. And then came Stephen Miller. Like,
Yeah.
where it's, yeah, the bottom is not bottoming out. It doesn't seem like it's just, yeah, I've also,
What's
it's
that
just,
saying? The limit does not exist
yeah,
of how bad
exactly.
it can get.
Oh, I know.
That's what it seems like right now.
That's
Um,
definitely what it feels like. But there has been grassroots movement resistance to all of this. There were the hands-off protests on April 5th, and those saw an estimated 3 to 5 million people across 1,400 locations nationwide. Here in St. Pete, we were on Central Ave, or like up and down Central Avenue and First Ave. We covered about uh 22, I think we covered 21 corners, and we had about 100. We're trying to keep 100 people at each corner, but like people were coming and going. So it's like, so yeah, we had at least 2,100 people here in St. Pete. So that was really super cool.
yeah, it
Um,
was really, really amazing to see. You went live for a little while you were down there, and it was
yeah.
really amazing to see uh, just the organization of the grassroots movement.
Yep.
And I'm interested to see how it's going to play out over the next 2 years. And I know you mentioned, if you have more information, you said that there were more protests this weekend, right?
Yeah, so Saturday on it, which is April 19th, there's it's another day of protest, another national day of protest. The one in St. Pete again is going to be centered at this one's going to be centered at Williams Park. That was kind of where the volunteer center was for the last one. That's why I said again. But yeah, so it's going to be at Williams Park. Start at noon, go to about 1:30. Bring your signs, bring your megaphones like I will be bringing. um bring your, we're just going to be just out there, and it was such a good vibe the last time. Like so many people were driving by, were honking in support. Like there were a couple, shouters that were like, in support of Trump, but they're really and that was a rare occurrence from what I saw. So yeah, it's definitely check it out. It's like you should Google 5051, the 5051 movement, and that'll give you the website where you can find your day of protests. So yeah, that's this Saturday, the 19th of April. Yeah, so let's see. I think we actually might have hit all of the little things that we had on our list here just organically.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of did. I think the last point that I want to make is just stay engaged, stay informed. It's a really, really challenging time right now, and we were talking just before we started how easy it is to get overwhelmed right now. Um, so definitely take the time to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, but don't lose interest and don't lose sight of what's going on because we need people to be informed. We need people to be motivated and activated and ready to go. Um, Join the
Absolutely.
Stonewall Dems. If you're here local in Pinellas County, please come join us. We would love to have you. And we
Absolutely.
do things like the protests, and we are advocating for queer individuals running for office or those aligned with the queer agenda, so to say.
The queer
Come join
agenda.
us.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're hearing this, if you're hearing this soon, our meeting is actually tomorrow on April, what is that? The 17th, April 17th at 7:37.
7.
7, I should know this. At 7 p.m. at Democratic headquarters in downtown St. Pete. And if you're not here locally, check out, there's clubs, Democratic clubs in every county and every city. If you're not sure about like joining the whole big party, there's like little clubs and caucuses like Stonewall, like ours, that so you can focus, find a micro group that you align with. Like we've got the Young Dems and our Stonewall group. There's the South Side Dems, there's North Pinellas Dems, there's all these little
Yeah.
subgroups. So yeah,
Yeah, we have, I
definitely.
think, 21 different clubs and caucuses, 21 or 22 different clubs and caucuses under the Pinellas County DEC umbrella.
Yeah,
And even if you don't want to get involved there and you want to get involved on the state level, you can join the state caucus. You can join the state
absolutely.
party. Um, get involved, stay engaged. We need to be holding our leaders accountable, and
Absolutely.
actively participate in shaping our nation's future.
Absolutely. And as much as we're, we definitely want you to stay, everybody to stay involved and engaged, but take a minute when you need to. Like I am tonight going to trivia with a friend because I need to, even though or no, trivia was last night. We're going music bingo tonight. So I just need to like get out of the house, spend time with people, listen to music, and daub my silly little bingo card. Like, so just take those breaks when you need them, but we definitely need to lock in too. So, that's all that we've got for the week. Please remember to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at forsaint.petesake. That's forsaint.petesake. Please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. We'll be back next time with more stories from people doing the hard work to make our community better. Until next time, for St. Pete's sake, keep pushing for change.
Thanks for tuning in.